From the iShin Broadcast Studio, it's the Tool Time Podcast.
Welcome to another edition of TechShop's Tool Time Podcast. I'm Eric Garba, ASE Certified Master Automobile Technician and Editor of TechShop. Hey, what happened to the lights? I can't see anything. There's got to be a light around here somewhere. What's going on? Man, oh, okay, all right. There they are. Whew. I was in the dark for a minute there. So, lights, on the subject of lights, they're so valuable to a technician. We need lights to be able to see. And that brings me to the podcast we have for you today. This is going to be a great one. A company I'm sure you're all familiar with. Joining me today is Kevin Berger, Director of Sales for the Automotive DIY Division at Streamlight. So Kevin, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate it.
Kevin, can you give me some company history on Streamlight and what makes them unique?
Sure. So Streamlight's a little over 50 years old. It was founded by a group of engineers in New Jersey. They're working together to try and develop a solar simulator for NASA. So I think it was part of the Apollo project. So NASA needed this incredible light output to simulate the solar light outside of the atmosphere. And these engineers got the bid, checked it out, developed this light that was, I think it was 25 million candle power. So back in the 70s, that was that's impressive either way, but especially back then. So after they were done with that, they had all this knowledge and kind of ability. So they started making professional grade flashlights and using that expertise to develop what became Streamlight.
Man, that is so cool. I love that story. Everyone that knows me knows I love history, and that whole Apollo spaceflight program is really fascinating to me. It's just great to know and so cool to know that Streamlight was a part of it. So Kevin, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your role at Streamlight?
Sure. I'm the Director of Sales for Automotive and Hardware. I've been here for 17 years, so I've seen a good part of the, I'd say, modern development of the company, where we have broken into distribution channels for law enforcement, sporting goods, the fire market, automotive, obviously, hardware, and military. So we do all kinds of different things. And we are, I think, the most thorough or largest professional grade flashlight maker for each distribution channel.
Wow, that's really cool. So you mentioned all these different industries. And can you talk a little more about the range of lighting that's offered within these industries?
Sure. I mean, it all spools back to professional grade, lights that you can trust essentially with your life. So firefighters going in, doing their day-to-day routine, very rigorous. There's a lot of heat elements involved in your product development that you have to be, cautious of. So, and then into law enforcement and military, these things have to be very durable to the point where they're almost over-engineered and over-made with the best quality products and materials that we can use. So these things hold up. So the way it translates into automotive, what we're talking about today, is these lights are durable and they're made to the highest quality. So they do hold up fairly well in automotive, being dropped on concrete. They're inspecting things over their head with solvents and things dripping on them, and they get dropped over and over and over. They get ran over. They're just, there's use and abuse, and we kind of try and prepare for the abuse when we're developing lights.
Now, it sounds like you really know auto technicians, and sometimes what happens to the equipment we use. Obviously, you get anything, it seems like you really take care of it for a couple of days, and then you start to really use it, and as you said, abuse it. So what are some of the more popular lights that Streamlight offers for the automotive industry?
Yeah, so for a long time, our flagship light, this is a Stinger LED HL. So this light is used and was developed for law enforcement, which is kind of the model of our company. A lot of these things are developed for LE, and these guys are chasing people. You've seen the deal. They drop them, they get thrown, they get abused as well. So this light translated very well into automotive. with just a light output. It has a dedicated charger base, so the technician or mechanic knows at the end of the shift or end of the day, put it back on the charger. I have all my tools accounted for. So that was the number one, I said, sales volume for a long, long time. Till about 3 or 4 years ago, we developed the wedge, so it's much more compact. There's 100 ways to skin this cat, and this is just a different way. So a little more EDC, or everyday carry, is kind of a catchphrase for a while now. Slides in your pocket, USB-C, which is a more modern charging method. 300 lumens seems to be a good, 0 to 5 feet. You see pretty much everything you need to from a technician or mechanic. If you do need more, you just roll the switch forward. That's on. You hold it forward, and it goes up to 1,000 lumens. Only runs for about 45 seconds or so on 1,000 because it starts generating heat. This light's very compact, and I know LEDs are cool, but you hit them that hard with that much power, and they generate some heat. So the light is thermally regulated, so it doesn't hurt itself, just burning that hot. So been a very good light for us. We have a multitude of colors, and people match their screwdriver handles or pry bar handles or whatever toolboxes to their light. So it's been a very good light for us.
That's awesome. Looks like a fantastic light there. And I know, being in the industry for a long time, even when I started a long time ago, Streamlight was a name you had heard of. It was a brand you had heard of. And, if you wanted, if you wanted a quality light, hey, let's check out Streamlight. Let's see what they have to offer. And, it seems like it's really held over the years. And, that wedge, a great light, and as you said, lots of different colors. And, we're matching our screwdriver handles and ratchet handles, just to keep track of them, but that high visibility too. You don't lose it as easily.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't want people to lose their flashlight, but when they do and they buy another one from us, we're pretty happy about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we definitely don't want to lose them because we depend so much on lighting solutions these days. I like the shape of that wedge too. It's kind of flat. It's almost like you could rest it somewhere.
Yeah. It's it's designed to go in your front pocket or back pocket and stay there until you need it. Pull it out. Simple operation. 300 or 1,000. It's just simple, no brainer, no switching modes. A nice, clean, designed light that functions very well.
So as far as moving forward, do you have any new lights or anything else that, or maybe on the drawing board, anything you've got coming out?
Yeah, we just recently launched a new headlight, which is called the Sledge. It's just a good, solid, modern headlamp, which you can check all the specs out at streamlight.com. It's just a good light. I figured I'd mention that because we do more than handhelds. We do headlamps, so you can go hands-free working. Inspection lights, ID what's going on, hold it if you can do that, if you could do a one-hand task, or work lights. So something with a magnet, something with a swivel head, all kinds of different features within that work light category. And like I said, we do each type of light and several different renditions of it for each use. But the brand new thing coming out is along the wedge line. So that great success kind of parlayed into a brand new product. Nobody's ever seen this yet. And it is a very trimmed down version of it. And if the shape looks kind of familiar, it's a carpenter pencil shaped. It's actually a smidge smaller than the carpenter pencil. So this is a USB-C rechargeable lithium poly battery, all one piece aluminum. This is pretty difficult to do. There's no seams in it. It's not screwed together. It's just forged. I believe it's impact forged, if I had to maybe guess on that. But it has some pretty cool features. It's amazing. 100 lumens. And like the wedge, if you need it brighter, it has a throw mode. So temporary heightened regulated output. So this goes up to 500 lumens. And being this small, this is pretty revolutionary from a product standpoint. And there's 3 colors coming out right off the rip: silver, coyote, and the black one.
Wow, that is a great looking light, Kevin. And that's, and you said that's USB-C.
Correct.
So it's, you just plug it in, so it's a completely sealed light, one piece, no seams.
Yep.
Yeah, and that shape,
So
really cool. It's very slim, fits in your pocket. Everybody's used to that shape.
correct. It's absolutely, I mean, just the everything that nothing that you need is in here. It's just reduced, minimal, but packed with the features. It actually has a battery indicator. I don't know if it's going to show up, but those four little tiny LED lights on there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just a super slick light. So we're excited for it, and it'll be shipping mid-November of this year.
That is awesome. That is really exciting. Looks like a great light, and it looks like you've got a connection maybe with the industry, because when I see these features, when you talk about your new lights and all of your products, I'm thinking these are things that technicians need and use. I love that throw mode, because so many times you're looking around, you just need that extra light for just a little bit, and I love the fact that it automatically comes back down. You don't have to keep pushing the button to get to a different intensity or something like that. It's really user friendly, and with all that, can you talk about your connections with the automotive industry, and how does that play a role in your product development?
Absolutely. So I mean, obviously there's digital and print media, so we get our just our brand recognition out that way. We do a lot of trade shows with franchisee and independent mobile tool dealers, and then we also do some ride-alongs. So there's only 3 of us directly that work for Streamlight in this division. So we're pretty busy getting feedback, providing answers, and with that, kind of what sets Streamlight apart from possibly other companies is we have just about as many engineers as salespeople. So that's kind of not 3. I'm talking corporately. In the 30s, I believe, engineers. So just because our innovation team gets together and makes this and figures out how to make things super compact, they don't just wash their hands after the launch. If there's a problem with, say, the switch mechanism, the plunger, the tiny little lens, we have a separate engineering team that works through and improves product flaws. You don't know. I mean, you could beta test things, you can get it out there, but somewhere in every product is the weakest link. So when that shows up and it gets to a certain percentage, that those engineers work through that to improve that product, and we don't even tell anybody about it. It just seamlessly goes out as a correction. We try obviously very, very hard to make a superb product right off the bat, but at times, you do have to address it. And Streamlight, I mean, the Stinger LED, this thing's been out since, I think it launched about when I started, about 17, 18 years ago. And it's still a viable flashlight because we keep it current, upgrade the LEDs, the form, function. If something's wrong, if this rubber material is wrong and starts degrading, we look and, replace that material. So just because we put it out there doesn't mean we're done with it. And that definitely is not as common in flashlights that I've seen over my time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's a great sign of a company that stands behind their products, certainly, and always tries to improve them. Yeah, it's really interesting, I guess, coming from a background, as you said, with engineering for NASA, situations where you can't afford to have a weak spot somewhere, but things like that are going to happen. But having approximately 30 engineers, I mean, Streamlight, it puts a whole new light, no pun intended, on you being an engineering company as opposed to just a flashlight company, and somebody who really cares and is really involved in the development of your products.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of work, and they do a good job at it. And then to support that, we have a whole service team. So warranty, service, it's way larger than you think it's going to be, because we've had a limited lifetime warranty on our product. I don't know forever, but for many, many, many years. And, if you have a problem with our light, send it back. We're going to repair or replace it. We get them, like I said, we get them back run over by a fire truck, run over by 18 wheelers. in automotive. I don't know how many have been, they set them down, they lower the vehicle down, and the lift just won't lower. They're like, I don't know what's wrong with the lift. They look and a flashlight stuck under it. So we get those back, and it's 100% abuse. But the vast majority of the time, our team is going to take care of that light and repair or replace it for you. If it's something crazy, like those are crazy. I mean, they get shot, and we're just like, hey, good story. Here's your new light. We appreciate you being, part of the family. So from that regards, as a salesperson or somebody who represents a company, it's easy to represent a company who does treat their customers so well.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Those are great stories, to hear from the field of the abuse these lights go through, and the fact that you take care of the customers. Along the lines of, you mentioned the technology and the engineering. Does anything come to your mind as far as today's LED and battery technology that makes Streamlight stand apart?
Yeah, so there's some not as well known things about LEDs. It's similar to diamonds, how diamonds are classified or categorized. So, color, cut, clarity type of thing. They're binned accordingly. So as these LEDs are grown or made, some come out really good and some are like, not as good, and some are just very low grade. So we put the best LEDs in these products, no matter if it costs whatever, because we want the ultimate performance. We want that beam to shine super bright, clarity. So that's important to us. And that's one of the things that, is reflected in the quality of the product. Some of the other stuff, lithium batteries. Recently you hear of somebody's carry-on bag caught on fire because they had a power pack in their lithium battery on an airplane. So safety circuits integrated into the battery that cut the battery off if it gets compromised. Super important. Many shortcuts. So if you see these batteries on Amazon or whatever, most of them don't have safety circuits. It's a good deal, but is it worth the risk? Probably not. So adhering to all these things and then making a good product, there's a lot of, you're kind of juggling a lot of balls, but we do have 525 patents. So going back to, hey, where's the magic sauce? There's a lot that goes into it over 52 years of making these things, and I'm not going to tell you what the magic sauce is. Just kidding. It's just standing behind your product and making a great product and refining it as you go. That's what we do.
Well, that was the magic sauce was my next question, because that's what everybody wants to know, right? No, but seriously, that is awesome because I've learned so many things about Streamlight today, but just talking about the LEDs, and the battery safety circuits. I had no idea about any of that. I figured an LED, I knew there were different types, but the fact that they're graded, different qualities, and you're going through and making sure you're using the best of the best, and the safety circuits on the batteries. That's just awesome to know. I fly every now and then, more than I like, I'm sure, as you do, and you think about that type of thing. So it's great to know that there is a big difference between just buying a light, and buying something from Streamlight. And you mentioned color, and that's one other thing that I did see on your website was a color right technology. And what exactly is that?
Yeah, so color right is our trademark name for it, but it addresses or kind of indicates that it's a high CRI light. So CRI is a color rendering index, or the temperature of the light. So I have a example here. This is our Flipmate little work light. Got some magnets. We turn it on, and it's very, very white. And it's not the color of the sun or natural daylight. So this model, you hold in, and you see it now, it looks almost amber. So this is about 90 on the color rendering index. So the color rendering index goes from 0 to 100, 100 being you take it outside in natural daylight, and that's what it looks like. So as our eyes perceive colors and what we're taught, this is kind of getting a little nerdy, but as we're taught what red is, what amber, what maroon looks like, it's in natural sunlight. So when you get to a bundle of wires in a darker garage or doing some paint matching, you need a very high CRI light to replicate what actually colors. It's, gray, like you look at a bundle, it's like gray wire with purple, and you have this super white light on it. It's not going to let all those natural colors come out. So it's easier on your eyes a little bit. It's just kind of closer to, the center of the spectrum as well, color spectrum. But that's really what it is. It's good for IDing accurate colors, whether it be paint, wires, or, whatever you're working on.
That's awesome, Kevin. It sounds like a great tool for technicians. I've read about that CRI in relation to body shops and how body and paint technicians are utilizing those types of lights. I do a lot of I don't do body work. I do a lot of wiring myself, and hadn't thought about that a whole lot. But certainly sometimes you struggle. You're looking at a wiring diagram, a lot of very similar colors. Maybe it's under the dash where it's dark and you're can't see that well anyhow. And that sounds like a great tool to help people like me be sure you get the right wire the first time, or it makes it a lot easier to find it. So
yeah, when it's time to cut the red wire, you got to make sure it's red, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Sounds like when we watch those movies where they've got to cut the right wire.
Exactly.
Hopefully they're using a Streamlight. So no, that's awesome. This has been great information, great stuff, Kevin. To wrap things up, and you talked about the engineering, the history, the warranty, technology behind Streamlight. If you could summarize everything in just 2 or 3 words, if somebody says Streamlight, what would you use? What would you think of?
And some people use the word hero a lot, but one of our trademark things is heroes trust Streamlight. And it's more than just, hey, a cop uses this thing. These are developed at the highest standard with the highest level of, intent that these are going to work every time with the best materials we can find to support those people who rely on this, literally for their lives. So that whole kind of package translates to all the divisions in our company. If you're using the product, to light up, a carburetor versus or doing a brake job, or, running into a building. So that's kind of our standard, is that phrase, that catchphrase or trademark phrase, is heroes trust Streamlight.
That's awesome. Heroes trust Streamlight. I love it. And your website, people can go out to streamlight.com, check everything out.
Yep. Absolutely. Awesome. Streamlight.com. It's got everything there. It's got all kinds of information, some cool stories of lights that have been beaten up, returned, shot, whatever. It's kind of our, a wall of fame type of deal. It's located there. Obviously, our service center, anything you need, just send it back to Eagleville, Pennsylvania, one location in the U.S. When you call us, you talk to our customer service, Americans working in PA. It's pretty, it's just a good company, solid roots with a great product.
That is awesome. Great to hear. I know I want to read more of those great field stories, so I'm going to head out to the website and check it out. And Kevin, thanks again for joining me. This has been fantastic.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.